Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Wright. Today, we're going to dive into the concept of family-centered services, which are essential in social work practice, particularly when working with children, youth, and families. Family-centered services are designed to support the whole family unit, not just the individual. They recognize that families play a crucial role in the health, development, and well-being of their members, and that engaging the entire family in services can lead to better outcomes. However, it's important to remember that family-centered services must be adaptable and considerate of cultural context. What works for one family may not work for another, especially when culture, values, traditions, and expectations differ. In today's lesson, we'll explore how to effectively implement family-centered services with a strong cultural awareness. Let's start with an overview of the principles and practices of family-centered services. At its core, family-centered practice is built on a few key principles. Respect for the family's roles and expertise. Families are seen as the primary decision makers and experts on their own lives. Strength-based approaches, focusing on the strengths and resources that families bring rather than just their challenges or deficits. Collaboration, working in partnership with families, ensuring their voices are heard and that they're actively involved in all aspects of service planning and delivery. These principles guide us in creating services that are responsive to the unique needs of each family. But to truly be effective, these services must be culturally sensitive. For example, when working with families from collectivist cultures, it's important to recognize the broader family and community networks that influence decision-making and support. Tailoring these services to include these networks can be crucial in providing effective support. Additionally, understanding cultural norms around parenting, communication, and family roles can help us better align ourselves with the family's values and expectations. This might mean involving extended family members in planning or adapting communication styles to match the family's preferences. While the principles of family-centered services are sound, we must also critique how these services are traditionally implemented, particularly in multicultural contexts. One of the main critiques is that traditional family-centered services are often reflective of the values and norms of the dominant culture, which means it might not resonate with families from different cultural backgrounds. For example, services that prioritize individual autonomy and nuclear family structures may not be effective for families who value collective decision-making and extended family involvement. Moreover, there's a risk of cultural insensitivity if services are designed without considering the family's cultural context. This can lead to misunderstandings, a lack of trust, or even the family disengaging from services altogether. To address these issues, it's essential that we critically examine our practices and consider how family-centered services can be adapted to be more inclusive and culturally responsive. This means being open to different ways of thinking about family roles, decision-making, and support systems, and being willing to modify our approaches to better align with the family's cultural background. Now, let's talk about how we can apply these concepts in practice. When implementing family-centered services, it's crucial that we start with a cultural lens. This means asking questions that help you understand the family's cultural context, such as, how does your family typically make important decisions? Or who in your family or community do you turn to for support? Once you have a better understanding of the family's cultural dynamics, you can tailor your services accordingly. For example, if a family places a high value on communal support, you might involve extended family members or community leaders in the planning and decision-making process. This can help to ensure that the services you provide are not only culturally relevant, but also more likely to be successful. Let me share an example. In a case where a social worker was working with a Latino family, they learned that the family values the involvement of the grandmother, who is seen as a key decision maker. By involving the grandmother in meetings and decisions, the social worker was able to build trust and ensure that the family felt respected and supported. This cultural response approach led to more effective engagement and better outcomes for the family. Another strategy is to collaborate with cultural mediators or community organizations that have a deep understanding of the family's cultural background. They can offer insights and help bridge any gaps between the family and the services being provided. In summary, family-centered services are vital components of social work, particularly when they are delivered with a deep understanding of cultural context. By respecting the family's role, leveraging their strengths, and collaborating in a culturally responsive manner, we can provide a more effective and meaningful support to the families we serve. As you reflect on today's discussion, just consider how you can adapt family-centered services in your own practice to better meet the needs of diverse families, and steps that you will take to ensure that your services are culturally relevant and inclusive. Thank you for your commitment to cultural responsive social work, and I look forward to hearing about the ways you apply these principles in your work.